Federal law forbids the sale or reuse of this bottle. Let's see what we can do about that. So here's an old bottle, a James Beam Distilling Company bottle that I found in the same dump where I found all those other bottles for making arrowheads. And this bottle intrigued me because it has good square edges so that you can make arrowheads along the sides, not just the bottom. A good thick bottom will make a good arrowhead too. But it had this message on there saying the federal law forbids reuse of this bottle. And I wanted to reuse it for arrowheads, so I was curious why that message was on there. I did a little research and found that when Prohibition was repealed on December 5th, 1933, the federal government still strictly regulated the sale of alcohol. And this message was by law required on alcoholic bottles between 1935 and 1964, when that law finally was no longer in effect. And so bottles that sold alcohol from that era were required to have that message on there as part of the regulation. So I'm going to ignore that message and break apart this bottle and see how many arrowheads I can make. I got 4 good flat sides and then the bottom. So we'll see what we can do making arrowheads out of this thing. And you want to start by breaking out the bottom of that bottle, and you just put that in there and shake it up. Awesome, you got the bottom all broken out. This will make a great arrowhead. I'm going to see what I can get out of these sides. So I'm going to start by just lightly tapping this with the antler to see what we can do. I got enough material here to make at least 6 good arrowheads. So as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is take my antler and strike the edges of this glass to roughly shape it. I'm going to be pretty gentle because this glass is a little brittle, but I'm going to hopefully make a long triangular shape for our arrowhead. And if you see any weird rashes on my arm, I've been driving a bulldozer all week to clear some poison oak. So as usual, I have poison oak, but that's why I have the weird rash. This glass really is brittle and wants to break in ways that I don't want it to break. I did it. I broke it in half, so that's okay. We'll make a piece out of this and a piece out of this. It's not easy to flint knap this thin stuff, and it can be frustrating. So we went from a piece that's going to be super long till, let's see what we can get out of this. You can see, because it's clear through the other side, that I'm starting to take flakes in here and giving me some platforms to work on. The biggest challenge is getting rid of this square edge. This thick square edge is hard to deal with. So you spend a lot of time going around the piece just trying to get that thin edge that you can work off of. That edge there is really sharp. Once you start taking flakes off of both sides, it is just a razor sharp cutting edge right there. Now that those square edges are gone, I can start striking it with the antler and taking longer flakes into the piece. This is going to become more of a triangle shape, with this being the point. So this federal law forbids the sale or reuse of this bottle message here is going to disappear, and this is going to start taking the shape of an arrowhead. So we'll do that now. With this clear glass, it's harder to see the flakes, but they're starting to build on each other along the edge here. So the glass is starting to take a triangle arrowhead shape. I still got quite a bit left to do, but I'm thinking it's getting a little thin and fragile for the antler, so I'm going to move to pressure flaking. My pressure flaker is just a nail that's filed to a point, stuck in a piece of wood, and I'm just going to start gently pushing in and down, running flakes, and continuing to shape it. So at this point we've been pressure flaking and starting to have the arrowhead take shape. I definitely still have some work to do. I am being very cautious. I'm grinding the edges really good with the abrader stone just to make sure that I have good platforms, and pushing the flakes off as long as I can without too much force to break this piece in half. It is super thin. This glass is very thin, so it's hard to really take long flakes without breaking it, and so I'm being extra careful, and it's turning out to be a pretty nice piece. It's got a good flaking pattern in a lot of the edges. This can be a long, narrow, skinny arrowhead that's going to be triangular shape. So I definitely have to work down this side a little bit more, and this side, and then the base, and then we'll be ready to put in our notches. But I'll just keep on pressure flaking. I've been working on this piece for about an hour already. So I only do little highlights on the clip because I don't want to do an hour-long YouTube video, but it definitely takes time. This is a delicate piece, and I'll just keep working at it. So here's our arrowhead after we're doing some pressure flaking. I tried to push some longer flakes at the base here to get it into the center of this flat glass, and broke another 1/4 inch off the base. So this is turning out to be a shorter arrowhead than I anticipated, but it's still looking really good. Has a good flaking pattern and is razor sharp on the sides and has a needle tip here on the tip. So I'm going to stop shaping it now and work on notches, and for this point I'm going to do some corner notches, and it'll have a little stem here and some barbs. Now that we got our stem and our barbs chipped in here, we're ready to put it on an arrow. I'm going to attach it to an arrow with some pine pitch glue and then wrap it with elk sinew, and it will be good for hunting. It's not legal to hunt big game in Oregon with these barbs, but you can hunt small game such as rabbits and other small game. So next step is to put this on an arrow, and we'll do that now. This is a Ishii style arrow, and I have a video on how to make these arrows and how to fletch them. I've already carved in the groove on the tip of the arrow to put the arrowhead to, and it fits snugly with the base. So this is going to attach really well, and I'm going to fill in these little gaps here with some pine pitch glue to help secure it, and then we're going to wrap it with elk back sinew. So the first step is to glue it on with the pine pitch glue. Now I'm going to heat it up by the fire so that it's nice and soft, and then we'll mount our arrowhead to the shaft. So I'm going to use the stick here to work this soft glue into all the little open spaces. Now that we have pine pitch glue all along the base of this arrowhead, we're going to hold it near the flame, let that glue melt a little bit, and fill in any little gaps or voids at the base of the arrowhead. So now that that pine pitch glue has cooled and is on, it is holding the arrowhead pretty tight to the arrow shaft. The next step is to add the elk sinew. The traditional way of preparing this elk sinew was to put it in your mouth and let the saliva soften it, and then you're ready to wrap it around your arrowhead. And this is that same strand after chewing it for a while. It's very soft and pliable and ready to use. And now the sinew wrapping is complete, and it just needs to dry, and then it will hold this arrowhead on very tightly and be ready to use for hunting.